I was the type of person that if I heard someone coming, I would time it so I wouldn't pass them to avoid conversation. I wouldn't make eye contact. It's always straight. Social anxiety is so painful. Like you want to talk to people and you see people who are so good at talking to people. They have the charm, they have the charisma. It comes so naturally. The conversation doesn't break. And I'm like looking at that, I'm like, do you not wonder how this conversation is going to end? Are you not thinking about what to say next while they're still talking? What is going on? How do you guys do this? One of the life philosophies that I currently go by is either you can accept something or change something. So when it came to my social anxiety and my social skills, it was either I'm going to accept that I had poor social skills or I was going to do something about it. And I decided to take the steps to change that. And that's one of the scariest decisions that I made. I know that sounds so silly, but if you're here with social anxiety, you totally understand where I'm coming from. It's not an easy decision to put yourself out there. It's such a vulnerable thing to have conversation because what it is that you're putting a piece of yourself out there on display, your thoughts, your opinions, what you stand for. And so my very first tip is to learn that about yourself. One of the main things that helped me when it came to social anxiety was actually learning what I stand for, who I am, what my morals are, what are my opinions, not what I have learned as I grew up. It was really important for me to know myself through and through so I had a solid foundation so that if anyone came my way to say this or that, I can stand firmly in myself versus before it was hard for me to do that. Someone had came in too strong with a certain energy and I would shrink so small, and I did not like that feeling and I had to change that. I couldn't do it. Now, on the journey of knowing myself and really analyzing my behavior when it came to social interactions, I realized that I was a perfectionist and I people pleased. Now, what does this mean when it comes to social interactions? I would constantly make myself small or shapeshift into the person that I thought would mirror the person I was talking to. And that includes my responses, my opinion, anything. I always felt like I was betraying myself by not speaking my truth. And also, I would change my mood so that people wouldn't see me as being in a bad mood, in a sad mood, in a tired mood. I would change my mood just so I wouldn't have to communicate anything about myself. And not only about myself, but also to not make them uncomfortable with what I was feeling. I didn't want to make other people uncomfortable, which is actually crazy. Truth be told, that was very tiring. It's a tiring thing to have to pretend to be someone you're not. And we shouldn't do that anymore. So the more I found myself pretending to be a certain way around people, the more I found myself avoiding them altogether because it was so tiring to keep up the facade. And it's better to be honest with yourself and stand in yourself than pretend to be something you're not. And that's what I discovered at the beginning of me practicing my social skills. Again, conversations are so vulnerable. You're basically letting people see your perspective on life, and you can be judged. And who wants to be judged? It's a scary, vulnerable thing. I notice coming into my body, into the present moment, helped me stay grounded in any conversation. When I was in a conversation, I would be in my head of like, what am I going to say next? How am I going to end this conversation? How do I get out of this conversation as smoothly as possible? But because I was trying to anticipate how that conversation was going to go, it was just awkward and just heavy, stressful. Instead of being present in my body and focusing on their words, focusing on their lips, focusing on their features, really listening to what they're saying. When you're in your head about how it's going, you're taking away from the joy of the conversation, what it can bring, the connection you can get from the conversation. Now, to really practice social skills, I knew that I have to be brave and get uncomfortable. I had to practice looking at people as they pass by, maybe start with a small smile. Even that was a little bit nerve wracking at first, but I had to start somewhere, and that was eye contact. And I found a lot of times that they didn't start a conversation, especially if you're just passing by. They will make eye contact and they'll smile at you, and it's great. And it's like, wow, they smiled at me. After a while, you kind of start to get used to it. And that was huge for me because I never did that. I feel like people thought I was really mean because I kind of put on a mean face, a very serious face. Girl, let's be honest, it was a face. But it's because I was scared of conversation. It's not because I'm a mean person, it's just because I was scared. Like I said, be present, start small. My next tip is when you're actively in conversation, this is what I did. I got sick and tired of myself. I got sick and tired of myself wondering how the conversation was going to go and planning it and being in my head and worrying about it so much. I got so sick and tired of that because as I was practicing, I kept doing it. I would tell myself to breathe and everything and be present in my body, and that helped. But I still found myself being in my head. And so, girl, guess what I did? I let them handle it. This is going to take a lot of practice with the awkward silences that come with it, but I have fun with it and enjoy the awkward silences and just observe their facial features as it gets awkward. Anyway, I let them sit in silence in the awkwardness. I let them handle how the conversation is going to flow, how it's going to end. And I know that sounds so hard to do, but trust me, it helps so much, especially if you're in your body being present and you let them, like, oh, how's it going? So let me see if I could do a mock conversation. Hey, how's it going? Hey, good morning. How are you? Good. What'd you do this weekend? I visit family. It was really nice. We went to go see the flower fields. Oh, that's so fun. What'd you do this weekend? Oh, I did this and that. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. And then I let them take it from there, girl. And either they say, well, they end it or they continue it. Either way, I just smile at them. Because let's be honest, we are not good at conversing, you and I. If you're here, girl, we're here for a reason. The anxiety is anxiety. So who am I not to let them, who probably are better at this than I am? Think about it. They're better at having conversation than us because we are considered shy people. We are considered people who are soft spoken, who always have their eyes on the floor. So why don't we let them handle it? It helped me. I'm being honest, it helped me. And usually they are better at conversation. They literally make it flow better. They know what to say next. They end it. This one does take getting a little bit used to the silence, so I will say. But I have fun with it. At first, it's going to be a little bit sticky because you're not used to it. This is the feeling that you're running away from. But what if we don't run away from it? What if we embrace it? It's so much fun. And the amount of times I just smile at them and wait for them to say something, and I think the longest I've gone is 5 seconds. I'll give it around 5 seconds, and if they don't say anything and I'm not saying anything, this is where you make your exit because clearly we're not talking about anything else. This and here's my tip here. Don't try and continue the conversation and try and make something up because at that point you might be a little bit overwhelmed with anxiety already. End it. Practice your going away line. It helps to have a going away line. Now, the trick with a going away, a goodbye, what do you call these? A closer line, I guess. The thing about a closer line is that you have to be sincere with it. So practice and being present in your body helps with the connection with the person, which helps with the sincerity of your closer line. Because if you were in your head the whole time about how the conversation is going, it's going to be really hard to have a sincere closer line because you were in your head the whole time. You're not actually listening to what they said. But if you were present in your body and you were listening and you heard that they have a cute little dog that they have that has this funny trick that they do, and you guys laughed about that because you were so present in your body, you actually heard that. You say something like, it was nice catching up. I got to get going. I'll talk to you later. And then I'll say something about the conversation. Tell Daisy I said hi. If that's her little dog, you know what I'm saying? So the perfectionist slash people pleaser in me had a little bit of difficulty with this section because it was hard for me to sit in the silence, sit in the awkwardness, and because here's the thing, I always wanted to control how people perceived me. So this part was really hard for me. But the truth is, it's not our responsibility to hold how other people see us, and it's not our responsibility to hold their emotions. One thing I learned was I needed to allow them to hold their emotions when it came to the conversation, and I'll hold my own. I really focused and doubled down on my feelings in the conversation, which was to be present, to breathe, and to listen and really sit in that and let them hold their awkwardness, and which was really hard. And it took a lot of practice, and it still does to this day, girl. I'm not a professional, I just have a lot of improvement. But having them hold their side of the conversation and not letting myself get caught up in how I'm being perceived really helped me draw that line and keep my peace in my little conversation bubble, if you will. So after I would do my closing line, make sure you leave because that was the end of your practice. If there was a long pause of silence, just say your closer and walk away. In a friendly way, of course, don't be mean about it. So, social anxiety stems from a bunch of different things. It could come from childhood, it can be a lack of confidence from your parents, it could be a number of things. This is one of the most important parts for me as someone who was building their social skills and who had anxiety when it came to conversation. I really had to learn to do was to parent myself after every conversation. Remember, every conversation is a chance to practice your social skills. Don't think of it as a all or nothing, like alive or dead kind of thing. I know it feels that way, trust me, I know. But the sooner you can release the negativity that comes with, oh my God, that was horrible. Oh my gosh, did I really say that? Oh my gosh, I was so awkward. Girl, leave that moment there. We need to reinforce that, oh my gosh, I just practiced another conversation. My closer was a little bit off. I was a little awkward, but I'm so glad that I tried it. Maybe next time I can. So we're learning from these conversations. Every conversation is a chance to get better at it. When you see it that way, you have no choice but to go up with your social skills, girl. For example, if you notice, I was a little bit too much in my head, let me remind myself that I need to breathe next time. Whatever you lacked in the conversation, take a mental note of it. And in the next one, try that again and keep doing that. Keep practicing. That's all it's going to take is some practice, and it is going to take you to get out of your shell. Now, when it comes to the self loathing part of how it went, because girl, I know what it's like to keep on repeat that how embarrassing was that conversation. I know, girl, it's not fun. So here's my tip, and here's my little trick that I use when it comes to that is I think of every time that I walk away from a conversation or a practice conversation. Well, they're all conversations, right? Anyway, every time I leave a conversation, I imagine in my head conversation where it was that person and me standing there wherever we were on earth, and I take a picture of it and it's frozen in time in that moment. That moment is frozen in time, including the way I messed up the closer, the way I was all up in my head, the way whatever I'm gonna say negatively in my head when I walk away, I leave it in that moment. All we're taking from these conversations is how can I do better next time? What can I do to improve my social skills? Any negativity or self-loathing are frozen in time in that moment that that conversation happened, and girl, we're walking away and we're moving forward. This is a way to build your confidence in yourself and release any negativity that you have, because truly, if I held on to any negativity that I had from these conversations, I would be stuck in the past. And if I was stuck in these old patterns of I'm a horrible conversationalist, that would follow me into the future. So we need to think differently, and we need to leave the negativity in that moment in time when it happened, and to create a new better future where we don't have social anxiety, where our social skills are where we want them to be. Every conversation is a teachable moment, not a reprimandable moment where you torture yourself over and over and over again. Been there, done that. Let's work on it, girl. I know you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it, because I promise you, I was so shy and soft spoken. And the thought of talking to people, oh, the anxiety. So remember to use that little visual trick of letting it stand in time. Also, parenting yourself and giving yourself positive affirmations that it went well. And not in the sense that you're lying to yourself about how it went, but wow, I'm so proud of you for showing up this way. I'm so proud that you went out of your way to talk to this person. I'm so proud of you. Keep saying those kinds of things, because you should be proud, dude. You're literally practicing this for yourself. That's insane. It's not easy. And you're doing an amazing job. Keep at it, girl. So at the beginning, I realized my nervous system was shot when it came to conversations and social settings, social anxiety. I knew that I had to make a mindset shift when it came to how I was viewing this. It's an opportunity for connection, and it was an opportunity to be myself and finally come out of my shell, to be honest. And that is the most freeing thing that you can do. And at first, it felt a little bit, and sometimes it still does, depending on what kind of character I'm talking to and allowing to see my personality. But I decided I don't want to mask anymore. It's draining, and I want them to see my quirks. I want them to see me for who I am. And I don't want to build relationships where it's fake or have to always pretend to be someone I'm not. So it was really important for me to build connection, and see this as an opportunity for connection, and for them to see me for who I really was and am. I want to circle back to knowing yourself. It is so important to know yourself. When you have a strong sense of self, it's easier for you to stand solid in your conversation. If you know what you are embarrassed about, if you know what triggers you, if you know all of this stuff, it's easier for you to stand in it, because no one can come in and say anything that will threaten that. So it's so important to know all of that. And I found the more that I learned about myself, the more it was easier for me to do everything that I said in this video, have people hold their own emotions, for me to stand in myself and what I believe, and share a part of my story to other people. Whatever it is, it's easier to be yourself when you know yourself. With anything, it's going to be really scary. You might want to even give up, but please do this for yourself. As someone who was really shy, and you know what? I'm still practicing this myself. I've grown so much with my social anxiety and my social skills, but I'm still learning alongside with you guys. I practice this every day. It's not something I'm a professional at, but I can go up to people and stand in myself. But the thing is, there's always going to be certain situations, certain comments, or something that might bring you back into that shy version of yourself. That comes up sometimes for me. It's going to take you being brave and wanting more for yourself when it comes to making connections. At the end of the day, you never know what someone's going to say, what kind of connections you can make. And also, not even just that, but also in your career, in love. There's so many different avenues where social skills are so important. And I know you don't want to have social anxiety and feel that heavy weight on your shoulder. And remember, as you're practicing, every conversation is not going to flow perfectly. It really isn't. But sometimes you will get those conversations that do flow. And it's like, call me a socialite, girl. I am ready for the big leagues. And those are really confident boosters, right? But then the next day you can have like a awkward back to the past kind of conversation. It's okay. It's part of the process. We're learning, and you will get there, just like I'm still learning to get there. I know what it's like. I was in your shoes. I'm still in your shoes. I know how heavy it is. So know that I mean this when I say this. You can do it.